LeBron and Steph are hooping like it's 2016 again. 50 points is the new 40, and the Mavericks medical staff is putting in more minutes than their starting 5. This is Hoops Weekly Rewind, a show that recaps the last 2 weeks in the NBA in 10 minutes or less. The league is heating up as teams are getting serious post All-Star break. The contenders keep piling up wins. The middle of the pack are fighting to avoid the play-in tournament, and the rest of the league is trying to get a ticket to the main event. But we're here to talk about the best storylines from the past couple of weeks, so let's get right into it. After making big moves at the trade deadline, the Lakers and Warriors are beginning to emerge as legit threats in the Western Conference. Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler have added much needed firepower, while LeBron and Steph continue to defy father time. Since the All-Star break, LeBron James is 8-2, morphing into an all-defense level defender and averaging 28, 11, and 6. There were rumors that the Lakers were looking to ship off LeBron after the Luka trade, but right now, he clearly wants to stay in LA and fight for that 5th ring. Nearby in the Bay Area, Steph Curry has been averaging 30 points, 7 assists, and 44% from 3 on over 11 attempts per game, leading the Warriors to a 9-1 record. He recently exploded all over the Orlando Magic for 56 points and 12 threes, both top 5 marks in his career. When everything is going in for Steph, defenses are just left hoping that it's over quick. Anyways, uniting these two all-time greats with proven playoff superstars really makes you wonder just how dominant these teams can become. While the Lakers and Warriors are thriving after their deadline moves, the other side of the Luka trade couldn't be going worse. Nico Harrison and the Mavs went all in, trading their 25-year-old superstar for an injury-prone 31-year-old. And so far, they've gotten injuries, losses, and a whole lot of regret in return. AD didn't even make it through one game before getting hurt again. The rest of their front court has been a rotating door of injuries, and just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. Within a month, Dallas went from a team built around Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving to one relying on Najee Marshall to carry the load. Speaking of nightmare scenarios, Joel Embiid is officially out for the season after never fully recovering from his meniscus surgery in February of 2024. Now, Joel and the team face a massive decision. Do they go for a 3rd surgery, potentially sidelining him for all of next year, or opt for a less invasive procedure that has no guarantees? Either way, they're another preseason favorite that has come crashing down. On a brighter note, players across the league have been paying tribute to Embiid through some huge scoring performances. MVP favorite Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 51 points and 7 assists on 60% against the Houston Rockets. This was his 4th 50-point outing in the last 21 games.
Oh my God! Wow!
This has been one of the greatest MVP races we have ever seen, and I'll talk about that more later. Fellow regular attendee to the free throw line, James Harden, also scored 50 points in a vital win against a tough Pistons team. The Clippers are right in the middle of that play-in battle, as they're the 8th seed, but just 1.5 games behind Golden State for the Western Conference 6th seed. Some history was written in the last 2 weeks by a very familiar name and 2 unexpected players. Nikola Jokic has continued his all-time season as he put up an absurd 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 22 assists in a win over Phoenix last Friday, becoming the first player to ever achieve the 30-20-20 NBA stat line. He is currently averaging 29 points, 13 boards, and 10.5 assists on 58, 43, 81 shooting splits. Wow. While on the topic of NBA greats, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White combined for 84 points in a win over Portland, becoming the first pair of teammates ever to make 9+ threes in the same game, and the first Celtics duo to score 40+ in the same game. In a franchise littered with legends like Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Paul Pierce, and Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White stand above all. Now, let's transition into our award winners. The surprise player of the last 2 weeks is Josh Giddey from the Chicago Bulls. Since being traded from the Thunder, he started to find himself and his confidence in Chicago. He averaged nearly a 21-point triple-double, and he led the Bulls to an impressive 4-2 record in their last 6 games. Man, OKC is really missing this guy. Our Rookie of the Week, Kyle Filipowski, might be new to the scene, but it looks like he's already got the wisdom of someone with a few more years under their belt, thanks to his girlfriend, of course, as he's averaged 18 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. Unfortunately, the Jazz have only gone 1-7 in that stretch, but he's been very impressive. The MVP of the last 2 weeks has to go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He has averaged 37 points, almost 6 rebounds, and 7 assists on absurd 55, 45, 90 shooting splits. And the Thunder have gone 7-1 in that span. You can't talk about hot teams without mentioning the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have won 14 games in a row and currently own the best record in the NBA at 54-10. They topped my current power rankings, but it was a very tough decision between them and the Thunder. Their recent win streak just pushed them above OKC for me. As I mentioned earlier, the Lakers and Warriors are heating up at just about the right time. With LA being 6-2 in their last 8, the last 2 losses were Brooklyn and Boston back-to-back games. But they've had some huge wins, including over Denver, who they play again this Friday. The Warriors are 8-1, really starting to find their rhythm, and Jonathan Kuminga is now coming back from his extended injury. Let's just say that the Mavericks, Nets, Jazz, Hornets, and Spurs are all doing very well at working towards the best possible draft pick. My current MVP has to be Shai, but Jokic continues to make a very impressive case for himself. After Denver and Oklahoma City just split a 2-game matchup in OKC, with both players going off in their team's 1 win, it feels like this race is still up for grabs. Jokic is playing his best and having one of the greatest seasons of all time, while Shai is averaging an efficient 33 for a likely 65-win team. You can't go wrong, but I'll go with Shai at this moment. Evan Mobley will be the Defensive Player of the Year. While I love the arguments for guys like Dyson Daniels, I think that Mobley's impact on such a great team will be enough to win over the voters and get that award that he's been in the running for a few years. My Rookie of the Year pick is also the odds-on favorite in Stephon Castle. He has played better and better down the stretch recently, and I think it'll be enough to win the Rookie of the Year. The 6th Man of the Year race has been one of the more exciting ones. I really wanted to put Malik Beasley, but I think the recent 40-point game from Pritchard is going to put him over the top. We'll see if Beasley can answer with some big narrative game of his own. The most improved player to me is absolutely Dyson Daniels. He has jumped up almost 10 points per game, multiple rebounds and assists, and has become one of the better defenders in the entire league. Cade is going to end up winning it, but I think Christian Brown or Dyson Daniels are the obvious choices. Finishing us off, Jalen Brunson for Clutch Player of the Year, and Kenny Atkinson for the Coach of the Year. These are the obvious choices, let's move on. The first notable game is the Thunder traveling to Boston to play the Celtics. This one's pretty self-explanatory. The 1 seed in the West is going to the 2 seed in the East, and both of these teams are clearly in the top tier. I'm just intrigued. It's likely going to have a playoff-like atmosphere. Next up is a classic, the Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets. This Friday, March 14th at 9:30 Eastern. This matchup always brings the drama. Unfortunately, there's likely going to be no LeBron James, but I wouldn't be surprised if Luka drops a 45-point triple-double and it's still an unbelievable game. Just keep your eyes out. Golden State versus the visiting New York Knicks is a matchup against 2 teams clearly out of that top tier, but trying to fight for those next spots and a chance in the playoffs. To finish it off is the Thunder traveling to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. This is a true test for Milwaukee. They've been playing solid, but can they really compete with the best of the best? We'll find out. Thanks for watching this episode of Hoops Weekly Rewind. Be sure to like and subscribe and keep an eye out for the next video.